The Alchemy of Love by Hilarion with Lisa Holloway. I am Hilarion. I wish to speak with you about all that you are, all that you came here to do, all that you hope for, and how to optimize your potential toward that great leap in consciousness. You are, on your various paths, realizing that you are not here by accident, that you are here with a purpose, and that there are movements on your sphere that are taking place in rapid sequence, reaching for higher vibration and spiritual evolution. You have learned that the reality inside of you is reflected in the world around you. You are learning that as you grow and change and develop in wisdom, so does your mass consciousness grow with you. Such evolution is not an easy process, and though you do still see violence and self-centeredness around you, as you develop and change, so does the world around you. All of your methods of enlightenment, whether connecting with your guides, following a yogi or a spiritual teacher, or seeking divine connection through one of your religions, if practiced with intention, each works to bring you into alignment with the divine creator. All the ways in which you seek greater knowledge, whether through extrasensory communication, through Aboriginal spiritual practices, through quiet contemplation in meditation, or monastic life, all are effective ways to find God. The reason is that all avenues lead to the divine creator. All things everywhere are infused with the life force of God Goddess. And so, if you go seeking divinity, divinity will respond, no matter where you go looking. God Goddess can be found in all of your belief systems, every one, and you cannot remove or disprove God in another belief system, for divinity is everywhere. The mistake some of you make is to assume that if you have reached nirvana or bliss or divine ecstasy through a particular practice, then that practice is the one and only way to achieve such connection. You must be willing to share this wonderful experience because it belongs to each and every one of you. All you have to do is to call out to the Creator through any of your methods, and God will hear and respond. When you are afraid and not listening, sometimes you are playing games with yourselves. Sometimes you choose to fill your heads with stories and ideas that make you feel like victims, often because being afraid is a nice distraction from getting down to the business of evolving your planet. If you focus on those things that make you afraid and defensive, not only do you grow your own fear, you spread fear, encouraging others to join your suspicion. You gather fearful ideas, perhaps about extraterrestrials, or world governments, or national governments. Then you chew on those ideas and let them germinate, growing something even greater than the original idea inside of you. Then some of you may spread those ideas with your words and your conviction, and slowly but surely, you create the reality you so fear. All of you at one time or another have done something unfair, have taken more than your share, have made a decision that was better for you despite what someone else might lose. And so, of course, you recognize these things in others. In recognizing such things, you recognize your very own tendencies. Yet, while gently working to perfect your own being instead, you perfect the environment around you. And so, how do you handle a difficult version of yourself looking back at you? How do you handle the stress and irritation of someone modeling what you wish to be rid of in yourself? Do you rush to remove them from your reality in any way possible? We understand that on both the individual and mass scale, you have the need to protect what is yours from the real or perceived selfishness or greed that perhaps emanates from otherworldly beings or your neighbors down the street. However, eventually you will have to stop pointing the finger outwardly and look at the self. You're going to recognize your star role in the drama and ultimately forgive yourselves through letting go of blame. Everything you have learned in your past is harvested from events which are no longer of consequence or importance, because the lessons are gleaned and the past is gone. You no longer need to belong to your past and live in your past, and you don't need to write it all down so that you will not forget. Your soul knows where you have been. Ultimately, forgiveness is not something you give to someone else. It is the gift of setting yourself free. It is the act of letting go of anger, resentment, and pain. Yes, you do release the other person in powerful ways, but you are only releasing them from your expectations, and it is your expectations of other people that bring you so very much disappointment. Because you see, most of the people who have disappointed you were not given your version of the plan. The plan is often in your head and not shared with others until they deviate from the plan. And even then, they often don't get to hear the plan. They only get to know you are angry or refusing to speak to them because they fulfilled their role poorly. And who are they? They are reflections of you. And you place on others expectations that meet your own agenda and make you feel safe and secure in a world that you unconsciously try to control by pressing your expectations upon other people. However, since these valuable co-creators reflect back to you what you believe about yourself, they cannot help but cause you pain if you don't love who you are. Now, is this true of all of you? Yes, it is. Because in interacting with all beings around and outside of you, you are interacting with versions of yourself, evidence of your beliefs, representations of your own thoughts. You are amazing creators. In truth, you are such accomplished creators that evidence of what you believe takes place around you all of the time. And so, as I have said before, truth is in the eye of the perceiver. Your truth is as valid as another's truth, and in turn, their truth is as valid as yours. You don't often interact with people whose reality is vastly different from your own, because what you experience in your life is limited to what you believe to be true. The greater your ability to expand your perception of reality, the greater the variation of experience you find yourself exposed to. By limiting what you believe is possible, you unintentionally limit your reality. You occasionally see others whose reality seems to be more limited than your own. But if you don't all grow and expand, develop and evolve, you will not raise the vibration of your planet and improve the potential future on Earth. You are all light workers, and each of you knows that as a bringer of light, you have the desire within for service toward raising the consciousness of those on planet Earth, the desire to transcend the limitations of material existence. When another lightworker is struggling with identity or needs assistance finding his or her path, or seems to be seeped in ego, take the time to give wisdom and understanding rather than judgment. Almost all ego or self-aggrandizing behavior stems from fear. Identifying and comforting that fear in someone else leads to positive forward movement for all of you. It would also be positive forward movement if your national leaders could clearly recognize the divine perfection and importance of every single soul within their realm of influence. How can they begin to see the divinity and importance of the people outside of their countries when they don't understand the individual importance of each person they govern? At what point will world leaders recognize the intrinsic value of each and every citizen? At what point will human life no longer be disposable? And once an argument starts between two warring factions, at what point do the aggressors look at one another and say, "I recognize you, for there go I"? Truly, as large and complex as the issue of saving your planet seems, it has always been an inside job. The status of your world population and your natural population has and always will be a reflection of the level of spiritual understanding within each and every one of you. Here is the good news. You are all learning through the vehicle of your mass media that there is power and influence inside each of you. You are integrating the fact that looking inward is more productive than pointing the finger outward. You are also increasing as a population in the overall desire for peace and prosperity in your world. Power to reach many people has been given to those who work with humility and devotion for the purpose of improving experience on Earth. Your media has been used for spreading fear, it's true, but it is also an important method for informing and empowering people who would otherwise feel lost in the face of issues that seem too large to handle. There is positive movement taking place in the undercurrent of your mass mental and emotional environment. That undercurrent is a current of change, of recognition, and of humanity. Your biggest stumbling block on a mass scale is apathy. Apathy most often results from exhaustion in the face of insurmountable odds that seem stacked against positive change. But as people around these exhausted and distracted brethren are making changes within themselves and taking positive action in their communities, such tired souls ignite with hope. In truth, as a mass population, you are quite far from recognizing the divinity and importance of every soul on the planet. But as a whole, you are getting there, and this is the road to unconditional love and transcendence. You can walk around in your immediate environment and intentionally emanate unconditional love. But it is when you can love unconditionally in uncomfortable situations, in the presence of those you judge, or when faced with circumstances that make you feel powerless, that you experience the alchemical and transcendental influence of unconditional love. Love does indeed transform and transcend anger, loss, resentment, fear, and emotional wounds. It is the elusive magic that most of you are looking for in your search for happiness. Love's great partner is discernment. Discernment is another word for wisdom. Love in action with wisdom brings positive change to your world. Forgive the world around you. Forgive those who, through their failure to meet your expectations, taught you your greatest lessons about yourself. Forgive those who took more than their share, who walked away, who through fault or no fault caused you to feel empty or betrayed. Set yourself free. You will find that the world around you changes for the better in the face of such forgiveness. Love one another as we love you, and we do love you deeply. Namaste. Hilarion.